is BBC One. Now a budget response by the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Peter Lilley, MP.
Never before has a Chancellor inherited economic prospects as good as those that Britain is enjoying today. Just look at what Britain has been achieving under Conservative policies. Our unemployment is lower than any other major European economy, and falling fast. Inflation has stayed low for the longest period in 50 years. We're winning the lion's share of investment from outside Europe, and Britain is growing faster than any of our major European competitors. And when Gordon Brown walked into the Treasury, even he couldn't find any black holes in the government books. In fact, public borrowing is falling even faster than Kenneth Clarke predicted last November. So, falling unemployment, growth that will last, and sound finances. No wonder the World Economic Forum says Britain is the envy of continental Europe. That was achieved by policies of reducing taxes to reward success, encourage enterprise, and boost savings. Labour was elected on the promise that they would not reverse our policies. But yesterday we saw where Labour's basic instincts really lie. The new government put up taxes, a total of 17 tax rises. For some people, yesterday's tax rises may have come as a surprise. Before the general election, Mr. Blair and Mr. Brown insisted that raising taxes was the last thing they would do. "We've no plans to increase taxes at all," said Mr. Blair. "There are no spending commitments that require extra taxes," said Mr. Brown. But yesterday, Labour cut mortgage tax relief, piled a new tax on household bills, and snatched £5 billion from pension funds. 17 tax rises in all. Quite simply, Labour betrayed the trust that the British people placed in them just 8 short weeks ago. Raising taxes is always unpopular. The Chancellor knows it. So he tried to bury the biggest tax rise in the small print of the budget by changing the tax rules for companies and pension funds. He hoped no one would notice. But what he has done is to take billions of pounds out of pension funds. Either your pension will be lower, or you and your company will have to pay more in. And there will be less money for pension funds to invest in British industry. Then there's the windfall tax. The Chancellor would like you to think that only fat cats will pay. But he's wrong. They won't pay a penny. You'll pay. You'll pay through higher bills, or you'll pay because the shares in your pension fund are worth less than they used to be. When I was Social Security Minister, I spent months helping pensioners who'd been ripped off by Robert Maxwell. But what he snatched from pension funds was peanuts compared with what the government took yesterday. Millions of hard-working people will be paying the bills for this budget for many years to come. No wonder the National Association of Pension Funds said this budget is the biggest attack on funded pension provision since the war. Gordon Brown said he wants to build an economy for the long term. So do I. We all want Britain to keep doing well. But you don't build for the long term by taxing pensions. You don't build for the long term with a one-off tax on utilities. You don't build for the long term by piling up tax on the businesses that generate jobs, wealth, and prosperity. Yesterday, Gordon Brown put sound bites before sound policies. But however you dress up higher taxes, ordinary people end up paying the bills. It was a bad budget for savers, a bad budget for homeowners, and a bad budget for anyone who pays into a pension scheme. It put up tax, it broke Labour's promises, it was a bad budget for Britain.
That budget response by the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer will be shown again tonight on BBC Two at 11:20.